Double play to boot. Pepsi night, too. We got to remember that. Hey, did you ever think it could be this way after what happened on Wednesday?
I'll tell you, we tipped over last Saturday, we tipped over Wednesday, and we tipped over again tonight hot lapping, you know. God has a funny sense of humor, I'll tell you. We stuck in and kept fighting back hard. I think it was a little bit of advantage for me and Danny over Doug because we knew exactly how the track was, you know, and he was coming out there cold. So he was kind of moving around on the track, not sure of his line right away, and I was real sure where the track was and just had to get used to this tire. And the car came in right away. I could run the bottom real well right off the bat. I knew I could run the top, but Doug was up there, so we just kind of went where we had to go to get to the lead. And from there on, we just worked real well through traffic. And I can't say enough about the car. Tonight, both cars were just so great to drive. It was fun. I didn't want to stop.
Hey, take a look at this. He's the ASCS feature winner, and he's the newest king here in the limited division. Terry McCarl, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of Knoxville Raceway Weekly. Terry, great job, man.
That's my biggest 360 win ever.
Robert Jackson, Rich Buback on the front row, Pete Murphy, Tony Morrow behind him, Brent Antill, Steve Beitler, Dennis Moore Jr., Terry McCarl, Dave Eckern, Rod Holliday, and Doran Doty. 11 cars, 8 laps. Ladies and gentlemen, 410 heat race number 1 is green. And take a look at Rich Buback, the green line 9, working the top side of the racetrack into the race lead. Behind him, it's Robert Jackson, Peter Murphy, Steve Beitler, and Tony Morrow. The top 5, Terry McCarl working on the top side of the racetrack, moves to the side of Tony Morrow. McCarl now running into 5th spot. McCarl not stopping there, being blocked by Steve Beitler in the 21 car. McCarl with a huge run off the top, only to have to hit the binders. Now takes a look to the bottom side of Steve Beitler. Meanwhile, the green line 9 of Rich Buback continues to be your race leader. Bob White moving now into the number 2. Peter Murphy, rather, sitting now into the number 2 spot as Steve Beitler now runs into 3rd spot. Barry McCarl to the top side. Now shifting to the bottom is the yellow flag going to come out for the 62 car. Rod Holliday up against the fence in turn 2. Still 11 cars working now on lap number 3. The cone restart goes green now. Buback on the gas, and let's see what happens here. Beitler with a look on the bottom side. Here comes Dennis Moore Jr. on the bottom side as well. Dennis Moore coming off at turn 4. The 7 car now runs 4th. McCarl with a move to the inside of Robert Jackson, now also running in a 5th spot. It's Buback, Peter Murphy, Steve Beitler, Dennis Moore Jr. right now on the bubble. Beitler with a look to the inside of the Budweiser 12 car. Steve Beitler will move into the number 2 spot. Now it's Dennis Moore Jr. to the back of the Budweiser 12. The Beeve looking to secure 3rd with a shot on the bottom. Dennis Moore Jr., the Orchid 7, coming to the front in a hurry. To the rear, dirt bar of Steve Beitler. Another shot to the bottom. Dennis Moore Jr. now running in the number 2 spot as Terry McCarl slips back to 5th. Now it's Beitler with a look to the inside, but Dennis Moore Jr. will have the advantage off the top side. They're still side by side into turn 1. Beitler now back into the number 3 spot. McCarl in the meantime is coming to the number 4 spot. But up front, it's still the green line 9 of Rich Buback. The former Golden Colorado driver running away as Dennis Moore now looks to be reeling in the 9 car. Does Dennis Moore have enough time? We'll find out in just 1 lap. Doug Clark has a white flag in hand, signifying 1 lap to go. It's still Rich Buback, Dennis Moore Jr., Steve Beitler, Terry McCarl, the top 4 moving on to the A main. Maybe a bit of lap traffic coming in the way of Rich Buback. Does Dennis Moore have enough off turn 4? No. Rich Buback will win our first heat race. Dennis Moore finishes 2nd. Steve Beitler finishing 3rd. Terry McCarl finishing 4th. Wessels and Smizer to control the pace. The lights are down. Behind him, it's Pinniger and Walraven, Ranke and Lasowski. Top 4 go on to tonight's A main event. Doug Clark taking a look. If he likes what he sees, he will give him the green. Sure enough, we've got a green flag. The apparent line to bottom line as Chris Walraven in the 56, a light rollover. The Dennison and Associates car coming to the chalk line, looking for the green flag. We've got it. We are underway again. Lasowski with a move straight to the top. Let's see what the Fordbrook 5 can do now. Danny Lasowski, the topside move, getting him second. Here comes Mike Ranke on the bottom. Now the dude with a shot on the bottom. Danny Lasowski dropping Mark Smizer to second. Mike Ranke currently running third. In the pit stop pizza car, Pinniger now with a move to the bottom is in fourth. Behind him, it's Wessels, Kearney, Slinkard, Potter, and Newman. Kearney now with a shot to the bottom of Pinniger. John Kearney, the 86 car now running on the bubble spot, sending Pinniger into 55, back to fifth place. It's still the dude. Danny Lasowski out of the lead. Mark Smizer in the 69 car running second. Mike Ranke, the 02 car, runs third. John Kearney fourth. Larry Pinniger looking to make the A main if he can get into that number 4 spot. John Kearney now coming to the tail of Mike Ranke in a pit stop pizza car. Kearney working the bottom. Ranke on the bottom as well. Kearney now with a shot on the top. A look to the outside of Mike Ranke. Those two cars nose to tail. Kearney up high, Ranke down low. Who's got the advantage off turn 4, scoring lap 5? It's Mike Ranke. Now it's Kearney with the advantage. The top side drive in turn 1. Ranke though back to the bottom, side by side as those cars enter turn 3. That's the battle for third. Mike Ranke taking back that spot John Kearney took away from him a moment ago. Now lap traffic a factor. But Ranke will stay in the number 3 spot. In the meantime, Danny Lasowski, the Jackpot Junction ethanol car, has taken a white flag. 1 circle circuit to go. Mark Smizer still holds down the number 2 spot. Mike Ranke third. Kearney battling for the position. But in the meantime, the dude threads the needle. Off turn 4, he will win. Heat race number 2. Mark Smizer will hold on to the number 2 spot. Kearney with a shot on the top. Not enough. Will settle for 4th. Behind Mike Ranke, Larry Pinniger runs 5th.
Yellow lights off, looking for the checkered as they come down this time. Tager, Leonard Lee up front, we're green. Tager on the inside on blue and white 7A. Middletown tool die spots, but on the high side at Carlson System 16L, the number 1 spot. Tager looking to the inside of him. Into turn 3. Skip Jackson in that Clark Construction 10 on the inside, running third. Running fourth, the Bud Light 69S, Chad Riddell. Running in the number 5 spot, the 5J out of Oskaloosa, Jeff Matrician. In that Helderman Lime sponsored sprinter. Running 6th, the Rubes at Red Rock 4, Jamie Boyle. We're taking 4 to the A main. 16L, Leonard Lee in that Phillips Hardwood 4 sprinter out in front. We got the yellow out. Skip Jackson in that number 3 spot. Second is Tager. Your leader, Leonard Lee. Up top, Skip Jackson. That Clark Construction, Marion County Realty sprinter goes into the number 2 spot. Marlon Jones running in the number 4 spot, taking a hard look at Tager in that Bennett Rod Trucking 7A. Jones in that Sonic Drive-In Restaurant, Dozark Sandblasting 1J. Matrician in the number 4 spot, or in the number 5 spot. We're only taking 4 to the A main. Skip Jackson in that Rose Home Furniture, Cliffs Manufacturing 10 in the number 1 spot. Running second is Leonard Lee, and we have the yellow out for Troy Parsons, that 57C car. Skip Jackson, that Clark Construction 10 car in the number 1 spot, running second. Leonard Lee in that Phillips Hardwood 4s. Bob's Custom Trophies, 16L. Moving in the number 3 spot at Sonic Drive-In Restaurant, Marlon Jones in the 1J. Jeff Matrician at 5J, trying to work in on the high side for the number 4 spot. That 98 Auto Recycling Matrician Motors 5J. Marlon Jones moves into the number 2 spot now. That Corky's Radiator, AFCO Shocks 1J, your leader. Skip Jackson. That Pearson Construction Prime Choice 10 car. Marlon Jones and that Corky's Radiator. Sanders Engineering 1J running second. Running third, and that Carlson Systems, Phillips Hardwood Floors, Hunter Construction, 16L, Leonard Lee. Fourth and final transfer at Larry's Auto Body. Siri Construction 5J, Jeff Matrician. Matrician on the inside now for the number 3 spot. Matrician and from Oskaloosa takes the number 3 spot. From Milo, Iowa's Leonard Lee, and that's 16L. White flag for Skip Jackson. That classic coupe from Merle A. Mall, Southridge Mall, Marion County Realty 10 car. Jackson with a big straightaway lead over second place. Jackson through 3 into turn 4. Checkered flag winning the 3rd heat event. Sydney, Australia, Skip Jackson. Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Marlon Jones coming home second. Oskaloosa, Iowa, Jeff Matrician third. Fourth is Leonard Lee out of Milo, Iowa. Fourth and final heat about to go green when they come around to the white line. Doug Clark, Sioux Falls, South Dakota on the flags. We're green. 7H, John Hall up front. On the outside of that Automotive Machine 71, Manny Rockhold, the number 1 spot. Now Bob Olson, CPA 81. Jerry Richard Jr., the number 2 spot. He's taking a hard look at Rockhold. On the high side, here comes Bob White. Now 1K, that Carroll Corporation Kane Chassis goes up top. You race for the lead. Manny Rockhold, Jerry Richard Jr., White now in the number 3 spot. Running in the number 4 spot, that Texas Kenworth 9X of Gary Wright. And Wright now taking a hard look at Bob White for the number 3 position. And he slides up. White gets on by him and hangs on. That Hickman Racing Corner Car Wash 1K. Your leader in that Automotive Machine 71, Manny Rockhold. Running in the number 2 spot, now Marty's Body Repair 81, Jerry Richard Jr. Running third, that Kane Chassis, Storm Steel 1K, Bob White. Running in the number 4 spot, that Action Rent-to-Own 9X, Gary Wright. The top 4 going to the A main. Running 5th, that Rand's TV and Appliance 19, Bob Weed. Leader running the cushion, Manny Rockhold out of Pekin, Illinois. Forest Lake, Minnesota, Jerry Richard Jr. running second. You race for third now. Right out of Hooks, Texas on the bottom. Working on Des Moines, Iowa's Bob White. White a little faster off the cushion. Wright unable to hold the bottom line. Bob White, that red 1K. Gary Wright, the white 9X on the bottom side. The white 19. Bob Weed trying to close in. It's only the top 4 going to the A main. Once again, Richard closing in, your race leader. White flag side by side. Richard does a slide job to the high side. Takes the number 1 spot. Jerry Richard Jr. That Marty's Body Repair 81 out in front. Manny Rockhold second. That Automotive Machine 71. Gary Wright now running third. That Action Rent-to-Own 9X. Taking the win, the 81, Jerry Richard Jr. Manny Rockhold second. Gary Wright third. Bob White running in the number 4 spot. Yellow lights off, going to go green this next time around. Breezy Whitworth, Paul McMahon, Missouri against California in that front row. Coming to the white, we're green. Whitworth, and then Canfield is 96 on the inside. Slides up top. The Beef Packers 83 tries the bottom. Now works up alongside. Here comes that Haps Racing Engines 1 of Antil. Midwest Radiator 2, Emma Tony Morrow moves into the number 4 spot. He races that number 1 spot. The Beef Packers running in the number 1 spot. Snyder and Sons Trucking 96. Breezy Whitworth back into that number 1 spot out of turn 2. So Whitworth in the number 1 position. Beef Packers Incorporated 83. Paul McMahon running second. Running in the number 3 spot. That Trossel chassis sponsored 1 car, Brent Antil. And Bob Weave looping it over here out of turn 4. We're back green on the inside. The Beef Packers 83. Paul McMahon looking at Breezy Whitworth. And that Patrick Kent's 96. But Whitworth up to the challenge, stays in that number 1 spot. Now McMahon back to the inside again. Here comes the Vinyl Graphics 12 car, Peter Murphy. He's up into the number 3 spot. McMahon takes the number 1 spot. Peter Murphy and that Darling Oil 12 up into 3rd. Your Worthington Ag Service 96, Whitworth running 2nd. Out in front, that Beef Packers Incorporated 83, Paul McMahon. Now Tony Morrow moves back into the number 4 spot. And that Hawkeye Signs Midwest Radiator 2M. Jamie Moyle now getting into the Honda Nut Roops at Red Rock 4 car. He moves into the number 5 spot. Your leader in turn 4, the Burgundy 83 out of Oroville, California, Paul McMahon. Right behind him, the yellow 96 out of Worthington, Missouri in turn 1, Breezy Whitworth. That white 12 car out of Sydney, Australia, Peter Murphy in the number 3 spot. Now Tony Morrow off the throttle was running 5th in turn 2. Looks like his night is over. We're halfway. Yellow coming out for a coasting Tony Morrow down the back chute. Jamie Moyle goes to the bottom, taking a hard look in that Swank Custom Cabinets 4 car. And he goes, not only takes a hard look at number 3 spot, he goes into 2nd. Whitworth drops to 3rd. Your leader is Paul McMahon. Walraven now on the move, moves into 5th. That Denison Associates 56. Your leader, Paul McMahon. Jamie Moyle running 2nd. That Casey General Store Monroe 4 car running 3rd. And Rosens Incorporated 96, Breezy Whitworth. Peter Murphy still running 4th, and that Hughes Brothers, number 12. Running 5th. In that Raceway Tire, Flames Cars and Collectibles 56, Chris Walraven. And we got one looped over in turn 3 and 4. Everybody's sliding by. We'll see if Jamie Moyle has that Mid-State Ford's hooked up on the restart this time. They're going, he drops to the bottom. Paul McMahon up top. Here comes Breezy Whitworth on the high side. Jamie Moyle working the bottom. Now here comes Penninger in the 55 car. Penninger takes that Pallet Material 55 up into the number 4 spot. Walraven follows behind. Now running 5th as Murphy drops to 6th. Here comes Moyle. That Mid-State Ford Trucks 4 car working on the lead. The Beef Packers 83 of McMahon holding him off. And now Moyle goes to the top. He takes that Knoxville subway car, roots at Red Rock to the bottom. Moyle working the white 4 on the inside. The Burgundy 83 McMahon up top. McMahon still up to the challenge. McMahon now goes to the bottom. And Moyle goes to the top. Walraven has trouble, heads to the pit area. White flag one more time around. Your leader, Premier, Paul McMahon, and beat Packers 83 on the inside of turn 1. Jamie Moyle, the white 4-car. Checkered flag this time down, Oroville, California, 83, Paul McMahon. Jamie Moyle in the 4-car runs second. Third is Breezy Whitworth, and fourth, Larry Pinniger. Coming to the white line, we're green, 20 laps the distance. Up front, a little bumping and grinding over the cushion. Mike Renke, that's 0-2. The pit stop pizza. Beitler and that Hawkeye Tack and Western Wear, 21 in the number 2 spot. Up on the top, the 51, Terry McCarl. Carl quickly moves into second in that Vermeer sponsored 51 car. Out in front, Fast Wing 02, Mike Renke. Terry McCarl having that McCroskey Vermeer 51 car hooked up above. Running third, that Hawkeye Tack and Western Wear 21 is Steve Beitler. Gary Wright in an action, Rendon 9X running in the number 4 spot. The Orkin 7 running 5th, Dennis Moore Jr. Wasowski running 6th in that Minnesota Corn Processing 5 car. The race starting to develop up front. Mike Renke in that Sinclair Racing Engine 02 closing right up behind him now. That Sanders Engineering Dean Field controlling 51 Terry McCarl. The race for the lead. McCarl takes that Brad Christie Gray 51 down to the bottom. His pad doesn't move anymore. Slides back up, but here comes Renke to the inside now. Renke down on the bottom. McCarl up to the challenge. Keeps the number 1 spot through 1 and 2. Now has the advantage down the back chute. Still running third is Beitler. Running fourth is Wright. Now running fifth is Wasowski. Breezy Whitworth's race coming to an end shortly, or short as he is stopped over in that 4th turn. Terry McCarl, Mike Renke, your top 2. Steve Beitler running in the number 3 spot. We're back green. Beitler goes to the inside of Renke. He's up to the challenge. We got one over hard over in. And they all slide and avoid him. Well, we're going back green when we get by that orange cone, or shortly there. We're back green. They're through it and racing after they get by the cone. Beitler trying to move. Here comes Dennis Moore Jr. That black Orkin number 7 goes to the bottom. Up top, he gets by Gary Wright. That Action Rendon 9X car. Now Wright working the bottom, trying to get that 4th spot back. Out in front in that Premier Medicaid sponsored 51, Terry McCarl. Running second, that Pit Stop Pizza Sinclair Racing Engine 02 is Mike Renke. Steve Beitler running third, that Hawkeye Tack and Western Wear 21. That Gary Wright, that Texas Kenworth 9X moves in the number 4 spot, getting it back from Dennis Moore Jr. He's looking to the number 3 spot. Running 6th, that Jackpot Junction Casino, CNS Enterprises 5, Danny Wasowski. Terry McCarl not waiting for the battle on back there. He's having his own race. He has a straightaway lead over 2nd place, Mike Renke. And now Wasowski gets that 5 car hooked up. Moves into the number 5 spot, looking up 4th. And we got one of them looped around over here in that 1st turn, 16L Leonard Lee. Terry McCarl has been up to the challenge on every restart. See if that Brad and Christie Gray car is up to it one more time. We're back green. Dennis Moore Jr., but Steve Beitler's there. Moore trying to get down there. Here comes Wasowski on the high side. Steve Beitler moving into there, holding that number 3 spot. Dennis Moore Jr. running 4th. Now Beitler working on Renke for the number 2 spot. Steve Beitler in that Hawkeye attack in Western Wear moving into the number 2 position. Over the pit stop beats the 0-2 of Mike Renke. Terry McCarl in that Vermeer Swanks Custom Cabinets 51 out in front. Beitler running 2nd, Renke 3rd. Lasowski now moves into the number 4 spot in that American Compressed Steel Van Gorp Insurance 5 car. Dennis Moore Jr. now taking a hard look in that Oregon 7, gets by Renke. But McCarl saying so long as he's going through turn 4. And once again, he has built up a straightaway lead over 2nd place. Being Steve Beitler now at this point. That Hawkeye attack at Western Wear 21. McCarl to that Vermeer, Deanfield Consoling 51, your leader. Running in the number 2 spot is still the blue 21 of Steve Beitler. Lasowski now moves in the number 3 spot. The Minnesota Corn Processing Jackpot Junction Casino 5 car. Gary Wright on the move in that white 9X, that Action Rent to Own. And Jerry Richard Jr. as Wright moves into the number 5 spot. Richard Jr. right there with him. Now Marty's Body Repair, Bob Olson, CPA 81. McCarl into lap traffic down the front chute. McCarl taking that McCroskey GM Discount Center Premier car into turn 3, your leader. Beitler coming off a 2 in that Hawkeye attack at Western Wear 21 car. Beitler running 2nd, owner driver out of Cedro Woolley, Washington. Terry McCarl out of Pleasant Hill, Iowa, driving the Brad and Christy Gray 51 Sprinter. Running 3rd, the 5 car, Danny Lasowski from Dover, Missouri, driving the Guy Forbrook Al Cole Sprinter. Right behind him, running 4th, the 7 car, Dennis Moore Jr. and the Larry and Gloria Cahill owned Sprinter. The Ford powered car running 4th. Terry McCarl having no trouble at all, running the low side now through 3 and 4. Drops the bottom in turn 1. He would climb out of this 20-lap feature event, get in the 360 car for the 360 Midwest Championship A-Main. He'll be looking at a white flag, this time down. One more time around for Pleasantville, Iowa, Terry McCarl. Running 2nd, Cedro Woolley, Washington, Steve Beitler. Still running 3rd is Lasowski. Right behind him is Dennis Moore Jr. Checkered flags a-waving. Winning the feature event, the 51, Terry McCarl. Running 2nd, a fine job, the 21, Steve Beitler. Coming home 3rd, the 5 car, Danny Lasowski.
Terry McCarl. Who's that, your girlfriend?
It's one of them.
I tell you what, several delays till we get to the checkered flag, but buddy, you had her hooked up in Holland tonight.
I'll tell you, my crew, as most of you have seen, have been working their butts off the last couple weeks about flipping about every time I go through 1 and 2, I think. But we've had to borrow a wing for Bob Weave for our 360 car. My dad and Jack and Glenn and Roger and Biggin and all the guys have been working their butts off, and I've just been driving the car. The car that's the best race car I've had here all year. It's the first time I felt like I could race it, so it's good to be back in a Maxim chassis.
Your first victory this year, but they all feel pretty good, don't they?
Well, I'll tell you, with running with Danny, and the competition is getting so tough here every single week that if you can win one any way you get it, you'll take it. So we've been working our butts off, and I started thinking we weren't going to win one all year. You know, you start struggling like that, and we've been driving way over our heads just to kind of even hang with Danny. But tonight it was like driving a Cadillac. Half the time I wasn't turning the steering wheel, and it made my job really easy. So I got to give the crew a big round of applause, and hoping we can do it again in the next race.
Well, I'm going to stand back and get some pictures taken here, and once again, Terry McCarl, congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks for Pepsi and everybody sponsoring the races. And my friend and sponsor, Bill McCroskey, my car owners, Brad and Christy Gray, they've been supporting me through all these tough times and tipping up all